Shopping for skincare is frustrating. Buy it, try it, toss it, repeat. Curology is here to help. Curology pairs with your own licensed dermatology provider who assesses your skin and prescribes you a custom formula to tackle acne, dark spots, or even fine lines. No guesswork, just a formula made to work for you. Get your consultation today at Curology.com/SXM. Curology, skincare with a face. Subject to consultation, subscription required. Cancel anytime.
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, yo, what's good? Check it out. This your boy, Elder Sensei, one half of the legendary Artifacts. You are right now in tune to my man, Tim Einenkel, at the library on rapstation.com. Let's get it popping, y'all. Artifacts. Peace, Elder Sensei. I'm out.
Went up. By the time I end this shit, it's going twice as up. I ain't stopping till I'm on a pedestal. Big Daddy Kane is on and raging on anyone who ain't high as us. I guess I changed the season smart raps, but the labels see it well. I only take the meaningful one, really basic reason.
Most of us aren't too sure of what we want to be when we grow up until maybe our late 20s, 30s, even 40s. If you ask my next guest what he wants to do in life, the 17-year-old artist says, quote, I have a lofty goal. I want to make a living off my passion. Music is what helped me get confidence. Music is my time to be invincible. His name is Token, and he's taken the hip-hop world by storm. Token, thank you for joining me on The Library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me. And correction, bro, I'm 18 now.
Oh, 18. Nice. Nice.
Yes, sir.
I never said I'm in debt to you. You robocall tracks, I'm owning your ass. That's what the fine print's telling you. You don't want to be my rival. Nobody give me a reason to be killing every one of my idols. I'm gonna do anything if it's gonna be getting me any title, but they sick of me. I can tell they sick of me when the sickness is going viral.
You read up on you, you watch, interviews, and, it says at 10 years old, your sister introduced you to hip-hop music. So I was always so curious, what did she play for you, and what is the first thing you remember hearing from what she played from you?
To be honest, it was before 10. It was like I remember being in I literally remember being in pre-kindergarten, the year before kindergarten, and having a CD player of like the D12 album.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I was young as hell, probably way too young to be listening to that music. But my sister, who's 5.5 years older than me, who is still too young probably to be listening to a lot of that music, put me onto it. And the first artist I ever got introduced to was Ludacris, Pac, and M. That was like my three people I was listening to all the time. Later on, it came to like, Jay and Nas and Big and all these other people, but the first three people I was listening to were Luda, M, and Pac.
Do you remember what kind of, if you just like one thing about each of those artists, kind of what drew you to why? Why did they catch your ear?
With Luda, it was like the humor and the fact how much fun he was having and how animated he was, because I always from a super young age, like, appreciated a good, like, sense of humor. Like, my dad was just like a kid, He had that childish sense of humor that Luda kind of reminded me of him. With M, it was the anger, because when I was that age, I was going through a lot when I was younger, and I was angry a lot of the time and just wouldn't talk to a lot of people, and I kind of use the music to relate to, so I didn't feel like I was the only person in the world feeling like that. So the anger was M, and then with Pac, there's so much, but I would just, every time I used to listen to a Pac song, it was like I had a conversation with him after I listened to the song. It was just the realism, and it was like getting a different perspective, something I didn't live through, and just learning about something new and how real it was and how sincere he was when he spoke about it.
You talk about, you mentioned just now about the anger that, you were dealing with. And on your on the track Self-Taught off of your album Eraser Shavings, you talk about how you in 8th grade hating yourself and how you kind of use GarageBand and writing as your outlet, right?
Yeah.
I've been working in my bedroom for a decade, that ain't gon' change, I don't need them. I'll be damned if I was 17 battling for my freedom. They told me they had better ideas than me, I don't see them. Y'all said you were fans of Token. Well, it's time you meet them. I've been learning that what's running my generation is fear. I've been learning that you cannot teach dedication to peers. I've been learning by myself, you've been very patient. I'm here, finally. Alright, I've been invincible ever since I was told that being different is a gift I hold. Been driven ever since my initial video, trying to get into shows on my tippy toes. I define persistence, I'll take it to
you're an artist that speaks from the heart. I mean, we saw that, we saw that in the Cypher. We also saw that on Sway in the Morning. But how has the writing for you helped change you as a person? And as a person with your like friends, family, but also as a student. I mean, how has this helped you in life?
Oh man, it really defined me, as a person. I mean, from the beginning, I turned to writing. I turned to writing even before it was rap, to talk about how I was feeling. It was almost like a diary, because like I almost felt embarrassed with all the stuff I was feeling, because I never felt like I was the age that I was. I was always like, I'm young, I'm gonna sound stupid if I complain about this stuff, and I was just overthinking every situation. So I turned to just writing it down, and I felt better afterward. I felt like I got off my chest, and that, when I was in 4th grade, turned into recording when I found GarageBand. And it eventually, I was a super self-conscious person. I wasn't talkative. I didn't go out much. Like I was super inward, you know what I mean? And music gave me confidence to release that and get that out, so I could be, I could appreciate the good things about myself. But then, it turned into what it is now, where it's like all the kids who used to hate on me. When I say I got hated on, I got hated on. Like I was a dude in my town, man, that like everyone shit on, because I'm this young white kid talking like no one wanted to hear that, and everyone would laugh. Like everyone, like even my friends, like were just clowning me 24/7. It's the same people who are all on board now. So I've seen at a young age a lot of different character traits from people and people changing, and I feel like I've grown mature from those things. So I've grown just for being in the situation that I am now, where I can travel the world and I can meet all these different people, and I really have seen a lot more than a lot of other kids who are my age, So it's really defined me in all aspects.
You talk about how like people were clowning you, and and it seems like these are all recipes for, especially as a young kid, to be deterred to do from living your dream, right? How as such a young kid did you kind of essentially you block those guys out? I mean, I feel like if I was young and I heard that, I would have given up right away, right? But you didn't. I mean, how I mean, for yourself, but how for a kid that's listening that doesn't want to give up on their dreams but have people shitting on them, how do you overcome that? Yeah,
man, I didn't have a choice. I was relying on it. I was relying on writing by the age of 9 or something like that, or 10. I was relying on it. So it wasn't something that anybody was going to make me change. And at the end of the day, I never did anything to get approval from people. I didn't like getting laughed at, but it kind of just reiterated the fact, man, fuck everybody else. I'm just going to go home and do this shit until they love it. And it wasn't only my peers. It was my parents were supportive because I was getting into so much trouble until I started getting real serious with music. But, I was getting shit from teachers. I was getting suspended for these songs I was making in 5th grade. It seemed like everyone was like, don't do this. This isn't going to work. But it really just wasn't a choice. By the time I was 10, I was already relying on it. And if anything, it kind of just made me more want to be. I had that rebellious thing when I was younger. You know, it was like they don't like it, fuck it. Like I'm gonna do it more. You know, so that's kind of what it birthed.
I want to speak more about your music, but I mean, I've one more question about. I was watching this interview with you, and you talk about how you're holding up a picture of a stadium, of a drawing of you in front of a crowd, right?
Yeah.
And then you say that was my dream, to perform in front of an audience, a large crowd. When did that become a dream for you? But also, what is your favorite thing about performing in front of a large crowd? Okay, so
it became a dream of mine, I would say, around the same time where it my writing took form in rap. So it was like when I first recorded my song, and I was like, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a famous rapper, and I want people to love it because everybody was hating it. I was like, I'm gonna switch everybody, and I'm gonna make them love it. At first, when I was recording, I wasn't even thinking like that. Like I didn't even have intentions of putting it out until my friend found them on the computer, and he was like, bro, like you gotta release these. And I was like, I'm not trying to show the world all this personal stuff. And he made me do it. And once I saw like the first views coming in and the first people being like okay, like a little bit, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like the fact that people like this so much, the fact that people just have the ability to like something that I love to do so much, that's what I got to do for the rest of my life. So I made that decision. And then what I like so much about performing is, I've grown so much on the internet, and I didn't know how real it was until I got out in front of people, and I can see physically how much the music resonates with people. I can talk to them, especially with the personal songs, where people come up to me after the show and say what the songs I've done for them. And, I don't really get lost. At first, when I started getting all these like views and shit on the internet, I was like feeling myself, right, for like a month or two. And I was like, oh shit. And then I realized that like, nah, man, like I'm looking at these comments, but like, how do I know this shit is real? Like, right. How do I know that's really what I gotta talk to these people. And when I went on the road, it was that and so much more. So it's that, and it's the fact that I just love performing. I've been a performer since I used to go to like an acting camp that was like theater, and I used to do theater before I was performing, and I've always just loved to be in front of people on stage, and I just feel like I have a knack for that, and I put so much work into practicing my set and perfecting it. So that's what I love to do, but I also feel like I've grown so much, and I can really offer a lot when I do perform. So that's what I love about it. I encourage everyone to see me live because it's a complete different thing than just listening to my music.
You talk about how you just talked about how you're out there and the people would come to you and say like how your music was affecting them, right? You have a track like Self-Taught, like I mentioned before, on Eraser Shavings, that talks about you being like I said, like being 8th grade, hating yourself. But then you also have this track and a few other tracks, like a track called Happiness, right?
Yeah. Ripped jacket with the stains on the surface. He was the kid that everyone was happy they weren't. Sitting alone, invisible to every passing person. Wondering what it would feel like to have a purpose. He never had a childhood. Forced to parent his own parents like no child should. His father is a veteran, drowning his memories with liquor. And his mother's taking pills like doctors give her, but they only make her sicker. With no sibling to walk through the stuff. No ends, no money, no friends, no buddies. He ain't talking enough. He don't put himself out there. He's offering too much. Well, who in his life would he learn that confidence from? And he sits behind me in class. One day I heard him crying from the back. Finally I turned around and I asked what was wrong. The first time I heard his voice, he said, all I know is pain. If this is life, what's the point? Show me what happiness is. His voice
is you telling other people's stories and kind of being a medium for them. When did you kind of realize that you could use your writing not just as an outlet for yourself, but as an outlet for others to kind of speak through you?
I would say like early high school, when I was in a bigger school and I was like really observing people and meeting new people and just observing how different people act and learning about people and just more stories. The more I live, the more I feel like I can write about things because I learn, you know what I mean? I don't want to write anything I don't really have any experience with. So happiness, like specifically, like happiness was first inspired by this person I knew that was somewhat of a friend. Always like you'd assume them to be so happy. They were popular and it was actually it was a girl. It was a girl and it was she's popular. All the dudes like her and all this stuff. I had a conversation with her and she was like telling me how she like takes medication for depression and she's sad and all this stuff. And I was like, damn, like you really don't know someone unless you talk to them. Like you can't just see happiness. Like happiness isn't something you can just see. So that's really what inspired that song. So I don't write about anything until I really have experience with a person. All my songs are based on truth, 100%.
You know, I mean, I think the amazing for well, if I were you, the amazing thing that if I were you, for me at your age, is that if someone Googles me, right, you Google Token, right, you know, so obviously Sway in the Morning comes up, but then the track Killer Will comes up, which features Joell Ortiz and Big Daddy Kane, and then you look into more, and then you have Killer Will, the final chapter that features Big Daddy Kane, Joell Ortiz, Chris Rivers, Snow the Product, and yourself. I mean, you look at that, and that's like an all-star lineup of spitters, right? And you touched on it before, but when your name is associated with like those other MCs, how do you keep yourself grounded? And then also, when you're on a track with these other MCs, what is your writing process like? Does it differ for you when you're kind of on a track with fellow all-star spitters?
Okay, so how do I keep myself grounded? I mean, to me, it's all about the people who you hang around with. You know, I got like the best mom ever, and I got the best dad. You know, like they keep me in check, especially my mom, because you know she's who I spend time with, and she keeps me in check. Like she'll point out if I got even a sense of an ego, like she'll point it out. Like my friends, if they hear a sense of like entitlement, they will call it out. They are so ready for me to slip up and start acting Hollywood. So it's really just about keeping the right circle, because I could hang around yes men all day, like everybody could who's got like a little bit of buzz, and I feel like that's how people get stuck in their head and start getting a big head. So it's really about the people I associate myself with. And then when it comes to the writing process for a track like that, I mean, to be honest, like, I'm changing so much as an artist. I still feel like I'm in my complete, like, infant stages. Like, even the songs I made, like, this past week, I feel like are miles ahead of anything I released before, like, miles ahead. So it changes all the time. But for that song specifically, the one with Kane and Joell, you know, I didn't know that Kane had a verse on that song yet. I knew it was talked about, but I didn't know yet. But I heard Joell's verse.
Let's go. Everybody talking like you perfected some kind of a method, but I see the crack in the back of your diamond embedded. It's not even kind of impressive. I'm trying to get it because you do everything he do, because everybody love him, but nobody gonna pay for two people doing one thing. So you might have views, but you can't sell a ticket. Damn, man, but you know,
I try to have the best verse, but I try to have the best verse in my own way. You know, I don't want to do the same thing as somebody else is going to do on the same track. I want to make sure that they like my verse, but they don't like my verse because it's like the most this or the most that. I want them to like my verse because it's the most Token, and it's different, and it's the illest different. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I do a lot of the changing up the flows and having fun with it and stuff that my fans have gotten used to. And, you know, going back and just making sure everything is on point, taking time with the recording, that's something that I stress all the time. Like, I take my time with the way I record. I still record myself just for the fact that I love to do it and I'm used to doing it. So I take my time. Like, if I said instead of like I'm redoing the whole thing, like I'm really about that. I'm really a perfectionist when it comes to the recording. So I'm totally aware when I'm on the track with someone like that I gotta come with it, especially with legends like Kane and Joell, who I grew up listening to. You know, I have to come with it and spend my time with it.
The video interview with Up Rocks, there's a lot of B-roll of you just writing and kind of, and what to me it looks like you're just in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Besides your lyrics that are obviously going through your head as you're writing, what else is going through your mind, and kind of what is your ideal writing situation or setting for you?
Yeah, I usually, I pick a flow. I pick a flow before I write. It's funny. It's like I said before, it's changing so much. Before, I used to feel like I have the technique I want to do now. I can write whenever. I know how I start a verse. I know how I end a verse. Like, I thought I had it down. But now I'm more focused on the flow and changing up the flow, and I can only write in a certain vibe. Like, I was super about just writing rhymes. Like, I could do it whenever. Like, I think of a punchline, I can just write a verse with it. But now it's like, when I write, I got to have the lights turned off for the most part. Like, I can't use my phone anymore. I got to put my phone in the other room and write on a pad, which is somewhat new. I've been doing it for a while now, but like, I used to write always on my phone. I can't have my phone anymore. It's like it's a vibe thing now. I look at music completely different now. So I look like a maniac when I'm writing, to be honest. I'm usually in a corner with a pad, same pad. Well, not always the same pad if I run out, but the same pen. I always use the same pen, playing the music, turn it off, like going back and forth, and just the lights pretty much off, unless it's like, I usually like write the illest shit when it's raining or it's snowing. Like, it's weird, man. It's like, I gotta get in the right vibe. That's what it is now. Do you have to complete, does it have to, when you start writing, do you have to complete a song, or can you come back to it? I can definitely come back to it. I always kind of encourage myself to come back to it unless I just feel like I can't. Like, it's there. Usually I'll start a song and then I'll not rest, but, I'll drop that song for the rest of the day, come back to it the next day and really examine it and make sure, I want to make sure that it's something I love when I'm in that zone, and it's something that can still resonate with people when they're not in that zone, and they can listen to it wherever. So I usually come back and forth to it. I spend my time with the writing. I usually never write a whole song in one sitting. It's just not something I do. Speaking of Token, obviously one of the new generation of hip hop that's he spits complete fire. So obviously that's why we're talking to him. So Token, I since you are part of this new generation of hip hop artists, right? I want to ask you questions, a couple questions I have about kind of hip hop generations. You talk to the old school guys, and you talk to even like new school guys or the true school guys, right? And there isn't always this great communication between all of them. Do you see this? I definitely agree that the communication is off. It's a little different with an artist like me because of what I built. Because I built everything that I have now based on having lyrical skill, and I've gotten respect from, Big Daddy Kanes and Joel's and the Primos. Like, I've gotten the respect from them. When it comes to a lot of these new cats who you always see going back and forth with each other, I think it's important to understand that, in my opinion, music is popular because people like it. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm not one to knock somebody for being successful, even if I don't like the music. If that person shouldn't quit just because someone thinks that music isn't so-called real, if kids are loving it and they're going to get paid for it. Like, I would never knock someone for that. But I would like artists to have a little bit of new artists, a little bit more understanding of, more old school hip hop, not the older school hip hop, because even me, if you quiz me on my old school hip hop, like, I won't know everything.
Right.
I definitely won't know everything. And artists were like Yachty, who are talking about like they never heard a Biggie song. I actually have, you know, my fans are probably gonna go crazy after hearing this, but like I actually have a lot of respect for Yachty because he went out and he was just straight up being honest, you know. And you can't knock someone for just not listening to a specific music, but when you get popular, you know, and you start talking about these things, take the day, take the week, you know, not the whole week, but listen to some Biggie. And he came back and listened to some Biggie, and he said his opinion on it. You know what I mean? Right. You can't knock someone for that. And I think it's important for a lot of the, you know, the legends to understand that. But, you know, it's vice versa. Like, I think that some new school cats who come completely sideways on, like, I don't give a shit, don't play that beat, to come, like, they kind of just want to make headlines, I feel like. They're just trying to troll people and literally do it for the headlines. But and everybody's saying these people should have a new genre and it should be, you know, I don't really care about the new genre thing. I mean, there's different genres of rock, and people still call it rock anyways. You know, music is, I think the idea of genres itself is kind of like, it's not needed as much as people think. Like, even someone who, let me think of an example, like, who's always like, I'm blanking right now, but there's a lot of people, like Post Malone, right? Mm-hmm. Post Malone on his album has country stuff and pop stuff and rap stuff. Like, I don't even know what it's called. I don't even know what genre he goes under it, but people get too wrapped up in the genre, I think. I think it's just about a respect thing, and don't make headlines just to make headlines, because people will get that. And the minute you blow up off of that, people are looking at you for the wrong reasons. And once that shit dies down, they're not going to be looking at you for the right reasons. So, I mean, that's my thing. I think it's just people just need to respect each other more, you know?
Right. And going off of that, this is kind of my final question, but what is your goal? What do you want to get out of this art form? Not just as an artist, but as just a person.
As a person, I mean, wow, it's a crazy question. As a person, you know, man, I want to make sure I never find even though music has helped me as a person so much, I don't want to find my identity through music. And let me explain that, because I feel like that's how people go crazy, right? And it's going to be extremely tough. It's going to be more tough for me just because I've gone so used to this. I've been doing this from such a young age that I'm like accustomed to it. But when people find their identity through music, it's like you drop a song, people don't like it, and you get depressed, you know, right. Because it's like, it's you. People don't like you, but that's not what it is. Music is just something you produce. You know, it's not you. So I think the biggest thing I need to teach myself and going down this path, because it's only beginning for me, that to keep the same people around me and not find my identity through this music, and know the difference between the family and the fans and the critics and, you know, people who are real close to me, because it's two different lives. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my all-time goal from the jump was to just make a living off of this. That's my easiest thing. But, you know, I want to be the best. You know what I mean? I want to be the best. I want to be the biggest. And I'm in such, like I said, in my infant stages, that, like, I can do anything. Like, that's the difference between me and a lot of these people, that, like, I've grown so accustomed to this that I work for this so hard. Like, I don't do other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, music is what I do. I work 100% of the time, and I take full, you know, people can say shit about me, but my work ethic, they can't say shit about that, because I'm working 100% of the time. They go out, I don't go out. They go to the gym once a day, I go to the gym twice a day. Like, I'm like that. I'm about that, man. I am super about the work ethic and getting better and getting better. So at the end of the day, all I want to do is keep working and just see what happens. You know what I mean?
Right. So I have to know a couple questions. What's next? And then, of course, how do fans continue to follow what you do and, get your new music?
Yeah. So what's next is, is music that's next level, and really starting to make music that people are really going to relate to, but become more musical, more emotion, more different types of production, and really step everything up to make this a worldwide thing and not just something that one type of person will appreciate it. I want the world on this. You know what I mean? So it's really just staying true to myself, but taking up to the next level and trying to be as global as possible. And where people can find me is just all they got to do is search Token. I don't go crazy with I don't like to talk about myself so much until people just look up the music. I don't really have to say anything. Just look up Token. I'm Token Hip Hop everywhere, and that's where you can find all the new music.
Great MC, young MC, Token. His album is Eraser Shavings. Token, thank you so much for joining me on the library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com.
Oh, of course, man. I appreciate you having me.
I will always be an individual for every second I was failing to be fitting in my school. And if I'm hearing there's something I cannot do, I just got the wrong people to listen to. Cause I've been invincible ever since I was told that being different is a gift I hold. Been driven ever since my initial video, trying to get in the shows on my tippy toes. But I'm a little bit taller now. Here we go. Watch what's hurting me, drop for urgency. Not concerned with the common courtesy. Y'all deserve defeat. Never listen to anyone who say they be understanding me, cause I'm still learning me. This is constant work for me. I put a finger under my ass at thermometers. Cannot observe or monitor the heat. Hardest work when y'all refer to me. Over all of the years, my team has gotten smaller, but I'm not too surprised. No one keep up with how I work, but it's okay. I ain't often too relied. I can ask you all these questions like how are you gonna stop my crew and I? But I'd rather have you question yourself so I can sit here and watch your suicide. I ain't gotta kill them, they're killing themselves, but if they need to be killed, I'll be killing for killing funny. Nobody really wanna be giving me compliments, assuming that it's getting to my head, but that is never how I'm feeling. And when I be coming around, everyone happy as shit, but I never forget anyone who would laugh at this kid. I hope my success burns your tongue every time you were asked about this shit. But I gotta remember, I go up, I go down, but right now I'm better. See my mom proud of me, a dad proud of me, a grandma proud of me, grandpa you'd be too. Not talking about success, I have work for this, cause I wanna be strong just like you. Just like you, I'll never give up because you never let it. I still feel your hand when we watch me on TV. I think about you every time that I'm stressed and I miss you. And we all do. I wonder what you would say to me watching all of this. I could go back years, but I hold back tears when I'm done on all of this. Yeah. I just hope to one day hold knowledge like you did. And if the kids had never got you, I knew you'd want to be at every one of my shows watching me commit. See, I'm prepped with this as a perfectionist. I spend more time on one verse than an essay. Just as important, recording it to the morning is surely every performance gotta be best take. Mixing in the studio, the shit got us how beautiful, so listen when you usually press play. Self-talk through music, learn myself through music, better myself through music, I'm self-made. Better myself through music, analyze myself. Keep what I like, lose what I don't every time I do this. And as I write what helps me make it better, as I try to forget what forces me to remember what's making me invincible every day, making sure I won't surrender these eraser shavings. Thank you.
Shopping for skincare is frustrating. Buy it, try it, toss it, repeat. Curology is here to help. Curology pairs with your own licensed dermatology provider who assesses your skin and prescribes you a custom formula to tackle acne, dark spots, or even fine lines. No guesswork, just a formula made to work for you. Get your consultation today at Curology.com/SXM. Curology, skincare with a face. Subject to consultation, subscription required. Cancel anytime.
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.